Hi, Anne.
Can you hear me? Oh.
I can. How are you? Wipe the sweat off my pits.
I am too. My airbrush has stopped working, and I'm like yelling at my husband trying to fix it. Now, hopefully, it'll stay working.
Thank you for helping.
It was like do or die. You're going to help.
How are things?
Good, good. Can you see this okay?
Yeah, we can see it good. Yeah.
I covered my laptop with saran wrap until I'm done airbrushing, but then I can take it off.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Ooh, what a cute kitchen. I love the two-tone.
Okay, so.
Hi.
You guys say hi?
Hi. Oh, she's got her apron on. She's ready to help.
Or she might help. Oh God. Okay. So I guess I can brush if it works then. Yay. Okay.
You take your time. Do whatever you need to do. We have 10 minutes, so I think I just wanted to make sure this part worked, and then.
All right. Should I even mention paint? I was gonna. That would be my backup plan with me painting if you can't airbrush it, but look, I guess I could paint a little section if you don't have.
Okay.
You could do that. How long would this be? 20 to 30 minutes, you said?
Yeah, I'd say that would be plenty. Yeah, yeah. I saw one the other day and it was like an hour or something and they were still talking. I'm like, goodbye. I'm like, I've had enough.
I know people will go on forever about.
Or.
Yes. Is that better? Okay.
So do you want me to talk through, not that I want to talk the whole time, but like, do you want me to ask you some questions while you're doing it or fill the silence, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'll kind of explain what I'm doing, and then like while I'm doing stuff, if you want to ask questions or
okay,
or if there's people can write questions, right?
Yes, exactly.
Questions,
yeah.
You can read them, I guess.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. People give a shout out from. I give a shout out from Chicago.
I'll bring it over here. Oh no, I just added another technique to my demo. See that? I even tested it last night on a paper towel, and I was like, "Oh, it's perfect." And then I went to turn it on. I'm like, "Why?"
It's like the pressure moments and all things fail. About an hour ago, our internet went out. I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
Yeah, really?
I'm like, "Come on."
You ready? Facebook? Oh Lord, okay.
How are things going? How's homeschooling? Good. Good? Oh, that's so nice.
How much work have you done today?
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
You are doing it already? What grade are your kids in?
So Ian is in 7th and Anna's in 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. How about?
He's hiding over here. JD, want to say hi?
Hi, buddy. How are you? Anna, my daughter, she is the 3rd grader. She started her work at about, I don't know, 8:50. Was done by 9:23. I'm like, what?
Wow, you're speedy.
I'm like, I don't think so. All right, I'm gonna have us go live if you're okay. That way people can start coming in, I guess. I don't know. Sure. All right, deep breath. Here we go. Let's hope this works.
Okay. What did it's Zoom and just post it.
Okay, it says preparing live stream.
But don't do it here because it might get feedback. You got to go to Retail Bakers in America.
Let's keep off the internet.
Oh yeah, keep off the internet. We don't need to jam out more internet.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna hit that one. I'm gonna add our title, Mermaid Mania. I'm gonna hit, all right, I'm hitting go live. All right, setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Sometimes I feel like this is almost too easy. I feel like it should be more complicated. Like I'm missing something. I hope not. Okay. All right. Can you still hear me and everything?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. We are officially live.
Woo.
Okay. I don't think I have to hit anything else. I think we're all good.
Okay. You can check it if you want. Go to Facebook again. But then close the off. Here, I'll do it.
I wonder how you see who's watching. We have one watcher so far. Is that your family?
My mother. Let's see.
Oh, there's like a delay, so that's good to know.
Okay.
I want
Okay.
to photo it.
Let me see it. I don't want to go.
So, all right, we're about 5 minutes away. Thank you to all who are starting to hop on. We have about 6 or 7 watchers so far. Oops, 7.
That's me. Yes, Benjamin.
And the nice part too, Anne, is we're recording this, so we'll promote it after as well.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna head back to Zoom meeting because that's just a little easier and there's no slag. So we'll give it about 5 more minutes and hope a few more hop on. And have you guys been pretty busy cake-wise, or is it?
No, I haven't done too much, but that's by choice, really. I feel like this is just a lot with the old school and the
Yeah,
constant cooking.
exactly. I agree.
All I do is cook and clean. Right? No. You?
We'll get started in like 3 minutes. We'll start right on time. It's very unnerving seeing yourself on camera. I don't like it. I mean, you look great.
You look great too. You hear your voice in a recording. I'm like, I sound like a man. Do I always sound like a man? It's terrible. You sound like a little girl? Well, you are a little girl.
I sound like a true Chicagoan. I get my nasal going and
I sound like a New Jerseyan, so you know. I think Chicago's better. JJ, what are you doing, buddy?
What's this for?
That is to lock the fondant and keep it nice and fresh. You can't lock it. It's still off.
I know.
Okay.
You will.
we have about 2 minutes, Anne, and then we'll actually get started.
No
I'd
problem.
hate to start it early and sort of mess up the schedule. So, and if anybody who's watching wants to, put your name in the comments below and tell us where you're from, that would be great.
You're gonna put your name in. My son's on.
He's one of our 6 viewers. Thank you, buddy.
Oh,
Love it. Give your mom a shout out on Facebook.
Oh, Lord. Oh, whatever you want.
What?
What are you doing?
It's very strange because the Zoom is on one schedule and then the live on Facebook is like a few seconds after.
Oh, so you can see both?
So you can see both, but it's like, I feel like I'm talking, but my mouth isn't moving in the Facebook one.
All right.
I just have to get used to it.
I guess I should make this better. So what I'm doing.
I love it. Your son said, shout out to Anne. That's great.
At least it's getting beautiful outside now.
Right, exactly. I'm ready for the heat. Bring on summer.
Get outside.
We've had so much rain here. It's like,
Really?
oh my gosh, we're flooding. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
We haven't had too much. What? It's hard. It's very difficult.
Someone said go in.
Look at those muscles. She's really working that fun. Get it, girl.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, Paul. Hi, Paul. Paul says, go, Anne.
Hi, Mom.
All right, we're just at 11, so we can get started. For those who are new to the Retail Bakers of America, welcome in. My name is Bernadette. I'm the Director of Operations for the Retail Bakers of America. And if you're not familiar with who we are the National Association for Retail Bakers all across the country. And this is our very first Facebook Live. So we're thankful to Ann Heap for coming on board and being our guinea pig and giving us all the instructions for Mermaid Mania. So Ann, I would love you to just introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, your bakery, that kind of thing.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ann from New Jersey. I own Pancake Box. Our storefront is not officially open anymore, but I'm still making cakes. And this is my little helper, Piper. Instead of homeschooling, we are doing some Facebook Live, right, Piper? So she had a lot to do with the color choices for today's demo. So if you have a little girl in your life that you might want to make a mermaid cake for, this might be the one. So I'm going to do a few different techniques, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them, and I'm happy to answer them as I go along. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I would use an airbrush on this cake. This cake is fondanted in white fondant. I do use satin-lace fondant. I find it to be very easy to work with. But you could also use buttercream if you're not a fondant person. This would work on buttercream as well. My airbrush machine broke about 40 seconds before we started, but hopefully my husband got it back to work. So I am going to show you though also a technique that if you don't have an airbrush, you could sort of get a similar effect. But we'll start with the airbrush so that I can take the saran wrap off of my laptop. And I can see what I'm doing a little better. Okay, so I have a Grex airbrush here. And for those of you who don't know, the airbrushes for cakes are basically the same as what artists might use. We just use food coloring instead of paint. And some of the wells are different sizes. And the color comes in liquid form. You can buy all sorts of different colors. You can mix colors. You can mix powders with alcohol also to spray. So I'm going to show you first. I'm just going to start with a very little bit of yellow. You can see as I spray it, you get a nice little yellow hue. And that is difficult to get any other way other than airbrush with that kind of look. So it does have a specific effect. And for this, I'm going to, normally if you wanted to change colors, you would rinse it out, but because I'm kind of doing an ombre, I'm going to keep a little bit of yellow in there so it blends with my next color, which is going to be blue. And when you're mixing colors, you want to make sure that you aren't mixing colors that will make brown or black. So you gotta get your color wheel back out from when you were a kid, and you want to mix colors that will look good together. So obviously blue and yellow, we know what colors that make, Piper? Blue and yellow? Green. Mixed green. So it's okay. We'll review that. Yeah. So it's okay if that happens because green is pretty, right? So you'll see a little green forming now. And now as I continue to spray, the yellow is leaving and it's going to turn a little bit blue. I'm getting it right in your face. Sorry. Okay, so you can see a little bit of blue there. I'm actually going to go back over the yellow because I don't want too much yellow going on here. All right. The next color we're going to use is purple.
So Anne, how many of these mermaid cakes have you made? I feel like they've been so popular.
You made one for me when I was 1.
I did.
Oh, very good.
I made quite a few. You can always use a paper towel also to spray into first to see what color is coming out, just in case you're not sure of your mixing. So this is purple.
And is it sometimes hard to control the amount that's coming out of the airbrush? I know sometimes we hear that that's a little bit, it's tricky.
Yes. So, depending on when you first start, you want to start out with like a light color or even a pearl, just because the trigger is really how, the farther down the trigger, the more it comes out. So you kind of got to play around with it first. I suggest doing it even like on parchment or on a paper towel first, just to get the hang of it. And then after that, you can sort of, if you want it to be really intense, you can go up close. So I'll do a little piece so you can see. I don't know if you can see it. So obviously, like that, you don't want to happen. The nice thing about food color is that you can wipe it off with a little bit of vodka. So if that happens, can you hold this one? You can take a little bit of vodka. So you just use cheap vodka you're not going to drink. And you can kind of wipe it and then just
we're in a pandemic, don't waste it.
Very sparingly.
Right.
Let this dry and you could spray over it again.
Very good.
So here we go. Should we add a little pink pick so we can, well, of course, okay. That was a silly question. Okay, so add a little bit of pink. And then I'll show you a little bit of a watercolor effect you can do on the top. So if you don't have an airbrush and you want to get a rainbow kind of look going on, you can. You can see now. What do you want? More blue. Do the top in blue. I was going to do the top in blue. Okay. So I'm going to do the top in blue, says my little helper over here. And what we're going to do for the top is, actually, let me just rinse this off really quickly. It's helpful to do this next to a sink, so you can kind of keep running it out if you want, rinsing it out. All right, for now, I'll do that. Oops. All right, so then I have just a palette here with some gel color. It's dripping, thank you. It's dripping. And the nice thing about gel color is you can mix it with a little bit of water and it thins it out and it turns into almost like a watercolor. So let's see, maybe if I put this down here, you can see it better. I'll kind of lift it up as I go along. So I like to take a fat brush and I put a little bit of water in a squirt bottle. I find it to be helpful. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so I have a little bit of blue here. You can see. As you mix it with the water, you can see the color form. And let me take my squirt bottle, add a little more. The more water you add, obviously, the more transparent the color gets. So you can kind of just brush it on like this. And then I like to take a paper towel kind of dab as I go. And you can see as I do that, it sort of forms this cool watercolory look. If you wanted it to be more consistent, you could obviously just do it like that. And then you could mix in other colors if you want. You can mix in a little purple. What did you say? Don't do the whole top, she said. Okay, I will not.
What a good helper.
She's very good helper. She's very sure of herself, which is good. Her design sense.
Where did she get that from?
I don't know. I was thinking saucy, but I don't want to incriminate myself, so. How's that paper good? So you don't need to do it, just in a ring. Can you hire my assistant? She is for rent.
Especially over the summer, right?
Summer. She's a very good dishwasher and a good taste tester. And she's actually a very good cookie ball roller. She often will tell me mine are not perfect enough. So I'm going to do a nice little ring here on the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to wind up putting some mermaid paraphernalia up there. All right. What's wrong?
If those circles were still, you could have put those.
I could have. Okay. So I'm going to take the saran wrap off of you really quickly so that I can now see you better. So here is sort of our airbrushed base. And I usually wear the gloves for that portion just because it makes your hands all sorts of colors. When working with fondant, it is a little difficult to use gloves, so I just will use my hands that I washed 800 times in the past 69 days. My hands are like raw. I'm sure everyone else's are too. So the next thing I want to show you is the use of molds, which is a wonderful invention that really was not here when I first started cake decorating, and I had to painstakingly mold everything by hand. But now there are so many great companies out there. Marvelous Molds, which I have a knit line with them. They have some great seashell molds. This one is a Triton, and this one is a Nautilus. And then this one is a sequined pattern, but it kind of looks like fish scales. So I actually made some circles earlier. You can see that, but it gave kind of a scaly appearance, which I thought was pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do, and then we have some mermaid tails here. And the thing is that they look awesome and people are very impressed, and you don't have to tell them that it was super easy, right? So I will show you, one of the things I like to do with the mermaid specifically is marble the fondant a little bit. What color tail should we make quicker? Pink and white? Pink, white, and
Purple and blue.
pink, purple, and blue.
And white.
And not the pink I just put in here. Okay. Okay. The boss has spoken. Pink, purple, and blue.
And white.
And white, yes. Can you put that back in the bag for me? Thank you. Piper likes to help me with some of these molds, right? She was making some yesterday. So when I do a little bit of the marbling, I'd like to take a couple colors. I'm going to make this one sort of a lighter purple. When working with fondant, you want to make sure you always zip up the bag right away because it will dry out very quickly if not. And what you can use is something called CMC powder or Tylose. You can mix that into fondant or gum paste and it makes it dry quicker and harder. So if you're making something that's going to be on a skewer that you want to stick out, it's probably a good idea, unless you have a lot of time for it to dry out. So you just mix that powder right in your fondant. And then all you're doing is twisting. There's really no wrong way to do it. You'll see, and if you use a rolling pin on it, when you roll it out, just so you can see, if you wanted to cover the whole cake like that, you get a pretty cool watery effect. So I'm going to show you for like this larger mold, all you do is you push it right in the mold. Super hard. It is super hard. Well, you're 6, so I mean, you did a pretty good job on yours. You want to go get yours? You can show everyone.
It broke.
It broke. Oh. She also made a couch for the mermaid to sit on.
Oh, how cute.
So when I got it all in, and just roll it 1 or 2 times just to get it nice and flat in the back and make sure it's in there nice and evenly.
It broke.
And then you just kind of pop it out. If your fondant's really sticky, you can put a little bit of cornstarch or powdered sugar in first. And then it comes out. You can see the details. And then all you have to do is you take a skewer. I usually just dip it in a little bit of water. And you can just slide it right through the inside. And then you can let it dry. And what I will often do is I'll lay it flat to dry, and then I'll put like a piece of saran or something underneath the tail so that it dries with a little bit of movement to it. And I'll show you, I made some earlier so that it could dry ahead of time. You can see how they look kind of more realistic that way than just having it going straight up and down. And they're nice and hard, so you could stick them into the cake whenever you're ready. But careful. What are you doing? We're not quite there yet. I will let you know when we are. And the other nice thing is you can make seashell molds. There's so many different molds out there for seashells. I showed you the ones from the Marvelous molds. And then I have this really super duper tiny little baby one, which is so cute. And this one I literally bought when I first started cake decorating 12 years ago. And the back of it's cracking, but it's my baby, so I won't ever get rid of it. Poor little guy, he's been through a lot. But it makes some pretty cool shells that again look very realistic. And people are always impressed by them because when anything looks real, I think that people don't believe it's cake, right? That's one of the biggest. Is that really cake? And then people say, I don't want to cut it. You know, not really.
Too pretty.
I don't want to look at it ever again. Okay. So for something like this, I'll show you, there are lots of different types of molds like this as well. I'm just going to show you a little piece of this. If you were to roll out a large piece, like if you wanted to side the whole side of the cake, you would just cover the whole mat with a little bit of powdered sugar or cornstarch. And then you're going to roll it right onto it. And the sides have like a nice little cutter on it, so it'll just perfectly pop out in a rectangle, and you can attach it right to the side of the cake. For this purpose, I'm just going to pop it off so you can see how cool it looks. And then you can use a circle cutter. Where did the circle cutter go? I don't know. Good question.
You can use this.
No, I'm not going to use that. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll just use another one. Here. So you just take your sugar cutter, and depending on the size of the cake, like if this were a larger cake, this is an 8-inch. If you wanted to use like a 12 or something, you might want a circle this large. And then you can actually like attach them to the side of the cake to look like scales, which is pretty cool. So we'll make 2 of those. We'll sit them here for a few minutes. I've seen people do it where they dry these flat and then attach them, or you can do it wet. It really depends on the look you're going for. So now the next thing I wanted to show you was, we should do a shell really quickly. We'll do a shell? We'll do a quick shell. We'll do a little baby.
And Anne, you said you have your molds with Marvelous Molds too, and I love them. They're so pretty. The knit, it's the knit, right?
The knit, it does look very realistic, which I would have done now, but since it's, you know, May. I think
Summer, winter.
yeah. Come back in November.
Right.
You don't have it, sure. Okay, so once we've molded our things and we've cut out our circles, which I pre-cut out a bunch of circles earlier, and the same thing, you just roll it out the fondant with a rolling pin or a shooter if you're lucky enough to have one, and you want it to be similarly width. And when you're putting decorations on the side of a cake, you really don't want it to be too thick. You want it to be like 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch. Otherwise it looks chunky and not professional. So you want it to be nice and thin. Plus you get more for your money because the fondant goes further that way. Okay. So now we're going to, what? They can hear you, so you might as well just say it out loud. The next thing we're gonna do is, in order to make your shells and tails look really fun and girly, I use some petal dust and luster dust. It's used to dust flowers and stuff. You can get them at most cake supply stores. And what you're gonna do is you take, let's see, I'll do this guy. You take your whatever you want to dust, and you take a nice fluffy brush. And this one is very sparkly. It is called Pink Stardust. You can see inside it. And when I dust this, you see right away it gets very sparkly. Can you see it?
That's great.
And then you can add some more details with a darker color. So this is a mauve. It's a terrible color normally, but for this, okay, thank you. So see, you can kind of add whatever details you want, and it makes it look kind of more realistic and more fun. And the nice thing too is if you want to do stuff in white, you can add a little bit of color this way. So maybe if your mermaid cake is for someone a little bit older, maybe a teenager, you want something a little more sophisticated, you could use like the white shell. So I did make some white shells and I just dusted them slightly with the color. And this one's got a little pearl on it, I don't know if you can see that. So that these are different ways that you can color it if you don't have an airbrush. If you do have an airbrush, you can also spray with a pearl. Which is also a nice way to get a nice sheen on stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how. These are my pre-cut circles. I just have them in between some acetate that Piper put on very nicely for me. Oh, you made them also. Yes, she did help me cut them out. And this is a nice trick to do if you're anything that you're putting on a cake that is, you're gonna have a lot of them to cut out, because instead of cutting, putting on, you can cut them all out at once, and this way they don't dry out. And it's a little more time efficient when you're actually going to decorate. Plus, if you're like me, once you start decorating, you don't really want to stop to cut more stuff out. So we have our basic circles here. One thing you can do, which in this house we love, is glitter. And here is, where's my brush? Oh, okay, so you take a little bit of vodka and you can just paint it a little bit, so it's a little bit wet. And then you can take your fluffy brush with some glitter and you can douse it in glitter. And you can let them dry if you want. Ooh. And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach it to the side of the cake in a pattern that looks sort of like the fish scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down here, and every so often you can have one. Would you like to put some glitter on some of these? Okay, I thought so. So you take this, okay. Just do a couple.
We might have to book Piper now for IBIE 2022.
we'll call her an intern so there are no labor laws.
Right. Right.
But use this one for there and then glitter them with that. Okay? No, water first on all of them. I mean, vodka first. All right, then I'm going to take a little bit of water. So fondant sticks to itself with water. Sugar is hydrophilic, which means it likes water. So it's not great in very humid weather. If your fridge is really humid, you want to make sure that you put the cake in a box before you put it in there. The nice thing about it is that you only need water to attach it to itself. So you don't need icing or anything like that. So I'm going to just kind of make a little haphazard pattern here. I'm just going down in diagonal. There's really no pattern here. I'm just kind of doing whatever. I'm going to throw some of the glittery ones in there. Glittery one down here. Okay. And then we're going to do another row. And as we layer them, thank you, it starts to look like a mermaid tail.
We've seen so many cakes just like this that they've become so popular over the last few years. I mean, Pinterest, you just blow up with little girl cakes like this. I love it.
It is pretty cute. So you can stick some of these ones with the pattern on them if you want, and then throw a few of the glitter ones in there. So you can do it just in a piece, which is kind of what I'm going for right now. Or you can do the whole cake like that. We've done a lot of multi-tiered cakes where the whole bottom tier might be that. And then you can maybe do an airbrush on the next level.
Piper, you did a good job over there.
Very serious.
Right, exactly.
Very seriously. Now, if we could do homework that well, it'd be great.
Right.
You should count, right, for something?
Right.
We don't have that in kindergarten. But.
Right. I feel like it's a few subjects. Let's count it as a few.
We just need not do that. He's watching us. Wow.
Very good.
I'm 2 minutes behind. Okay, sorry, JJ. Thank you for that. Okay, so we'll just put a few more of these on, and then I will do the rest of it.
And if anybody on Facebook has any questions, we do have a question from York. He said, Piper, where do mermaids live?
Where they live, Pipes? In a mermaid cave underwater? Duh. Well, there was a real discussion in our house a few weeks ago about why Piper wouldn't want to be a mermaid.
Because
What was the reason you wouldn't?
they killed them.
Oh, they're-
If
Oh.
someone had
You got morbid real quick.
He was killed. Okay, well.
no, if someone like got injured and the only way
Wait, where did they live? Oh no, okay.
where do they live?
That's okay, because I made 4 more.
Like any decorator would, right?
So here we go.
Underwater.
That's my bad. I should have my little plier, which I don't know where it is. Where did I put that guy? Can you see if you can find the little green plier? I think it's on my desk in the office. A little green plier. All right, we'll deal with that in a second. And then meanwhile, I made a bunch of little mermaid tails that I could put around the sides of the cake too. So it's like a mermaid extravaganza. So I just have a little bit of border icing here, which is basically like vegetable shortening, confectioner sugar, and corn syrup. And I use this on the fondant because if you mess it up, you can just wipe it off and it blends right in with the fondant. There's nothing in there that'll hurt it. It's also good if you make a mistake on your fondant because you can eat. It's good to fill in your cracks.
I didn't find it.
You didn't find it. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, hold on. Yes, hold on. All right, and then what we're going to do is I was going to put a couple little guys on top too. What I'm going to do is I will put a little hole in here first. Okay. Well, now you know the secret. This cake isn't real. Much to my children's dismay, they really want it. I think their father wouldn't be happy.
In New Jersey, do you all get that at all, like the fake cake? I know sometimes down south they do the faux cakes, but is that something in New Jersey that they would ask for?
Not really. The only time we really do it is like if a cake is going to be like at the beach or something and it's not going to stand up to the weather. Or if people want a really big cake and they don't have that many people, we'll make part of it fake.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so then we're going to put some seashells on. You gotta see what this looks like over here. Okay. Although we have been doing a lot of baking since this whole quarantine started. What? Glitter? Sure.
And I don't know what the rules are in New Jersey, but I think in Chicago or Illinois, in the coming weeks, we can get back to having small groups, so like 10 or more. Although I don't feel like that's going to be our wedding season for the summer. I feel like that's going to be a little wonky this year, but
it will be good for smaller parties, birthday parties.
Right, exactly.
It is nice. Pepper, do you want to hand me some of these shells? Maybe?
Yeah.
You can get as creative as you want. You can add waves if you want it to the top or to the bottom.
This one broke.
Which one broke?
No.
Okay. What? You want to put it down? You put that one on? All right, let's do a few more shells. Which one do you like the best? Like the shell should go next.
Not that one.
That's this one.
This is a very professional setting we have to do. Thank you.
It's our new norm, right? We're all just doing the big pivot. Everybody talks about the pivot. This is our pivot.
Well, I was impressed at Easter. They wanted to decorate cakes, and I really wasn't into it, but they fondanted their little Easter eggs all by themselves. And
fantastic.
And they knew where all the stuff was, so.
I didn't.
Well, JJ did. JJ knew where the stuff was. So as you can see, it's starting to get very fun and mermaidy. And if you want, we could take a little bit of fondant and you can just roll it and just kind of make a little like curly Q kind of thing, like this. And we can kind of add those on top as like little waves around the tails.
There's so many waiting for you.
There's so many waiting for me, I know. There's so many shells, just not enough cake or time. Thank you, JJ. No other questions?
JJ's doing a good job responding to everybody on Facebook, so I appreciate that help as well.
He's probably giving them more information than they need to know. Like what mom says when she screws up.
I just like it.
Oh, good.
It's fun with these color palettes too. I always feel like they're, you know, sometimes you get a little stuck in your ways with color palettes, but when you could be a little more creative, that's always a lot of fun.
It's fun, and you know, I think some of the best cakes I ever made were cakes that people gave me a color palette that initially I was like, ugh, and then I did it, and I was like, oh, that looks really good, because sometimes you do go outside your comfort zone in order to come up with something new, you know?
Right.
What do you want to do? You can put it on. Go ahead. Put it up, girl. Oh, beautiful. Oh, we never put the light on. Turn the light on. We had a whole light set up here. Oh, there we go. It's like a real production studio in here.
Right.
If it were a real cake, it would be much easier to stick them in, yes. Another reason I should have made a real cake, right? Paige?
Yes.
Yes. It's always fun decorating a cake when you can't see the front of it.
Right. You're doing a great job from this angle.
The hardest one I ever did was I had to airbrush a dog, and the camera was above. So I had to put the dog on its back, and I couldn't see what I was doing, and I had to just go for it. All right, that was a little tricky. All right. Wait, I need to put it, I told you first. We're gonna put it here. Okay, careful, because it's a little. There we go. This is like a family extravaganza of mermaids. It really is mermaid mania going on.
Dinosaur.
The dinosaur mermaid?
No, dinosaur.
Oh, a dinosaur cake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a mermaid cake. Wow. The girls like the mermaids. What do we want from me?
And the beauty of these cakes, like you said, there's no right or wrong way. It's
Yeah.
purely, you know, have fun and.
Right, and the other thing that's nice about it is they're very forgiving in that if you do make a mistake or you screw up, like on the back of that cake where I took that airbrush off, if this was a real cake, I could just cover it up and no one.
Right.
The other nice thing is there's almost always a back to a cake. There's almost always a back to a cake. So yes, even professionals make mistakes, and we just know how to cover them up better than amateurs. That's all. All right, I think we're on our way to being done here. I mean, I could go on forever.
No, I think it looks great. And this was so much fun. Thank you for being our guinea pig with our first Facebook Live. And we appreciate your help as always, especially as a board member of the RBA. We always appreciate that. So
Absolutely, I'm happy to help.
And thank you to your 2 helpers as well, and your husband who helped with the airbrusher. Family affair.
That poor guy. Help me now! Well, thank you for having
Thank you, Ann. I know we're just at about 40 minutes in, so we'll say goodbye, but you did a wonderful job on the cake, and thank you so much for being our first Facebook Live. We appreciate it, and thank you for that beautiful cake, too.
me.
Have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye-bye.
Oh, this is so fun.